Hey everybody, it's Benny1 and I'm back at you with another movie review, everybody. And today we're going to be talking about Marvel's, well, not their newest release, but Eternals, everybody. I finally got around to watching Eternals. And honestly, it took me about 3 days to watch this movie. Not really sure why. I guess I just didn't sit down and try and watch it in one setting, but I did finally watch it. It's a 2.5 hour movie, which isn't that long for me, because I could sit through a 4 hour movie. But I don't know, it just took me 3 days to watch it. It probably gives you an idea of my enjoyment level somewhat of the movie. So, this movie is about a group of heroes that was created by these celestial beings, and they were sent to Earth at basically the dawn of man and helped shape the way man evolved, kinda, and how the Earth ended up being the way it was. And they were sent to Earth to fight off these deviant monster things that you find out in the movie that these celestial beings actually created. Because there's some few twists and turns in the movie throughout the story, actually, that I guess I didn't see one of them coming, but because the movie is predictable somewhat, but then it's not. This movie's really interesting. That's one thing I found about this movie, is that it was very interesting because it doesn't feel like an MCU movie to me. Where like Shang-Chi kind of didn't feel like an MCU movie, but it was an MCU movie that kind of brought in this new like aspect with the background of Shang-Chi and everything and the lore, and it was just something different that we had never seen in the Marvel universe before, but it had that Marvel stuff littered throughout the entire movie, where this movie, I feel like, I would say about like 70, maybe even almost 80% of this movie does not feel like a Marvel movie, which isn't a bad thing at all. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but then they jam in those Marvel action like set pieces and everything that are in all the Marvel movies, and it's almost like they were going through making this movie, and it was like somebody went to the director Chloe Zhao and was like, hey, don't forget you're making a Marvel movie and we need this kind of stuff in this movie. That, when I was watching it, that's what I got from the movie, I guess. And I don't think they should be scared to do something completely different that fits in the Marvel universe. Like, I don't think they should be scared to do that, because so far in this new phase 4 that they've been doing since Endgame happened, I love that it's been different. It's just, we're getting different stuff with these new characters and existing characters. I love what they're doing so far, and I love that they're trying to do different things, but then they always revert back to what's safe for them, and I'm like, don't be scared to do it. It's okay. But yeah, so this movie's directed by Chloe Zhao. Nomadland. She's won awards for Best Director, Picture. Like, she's a very accomplished director. So, naturally, this movie looks beautiful. Like, the way it was shot with natural settings and natural lighting. That's why a lot of parts of this movie, the movie seems tone-wise, like lighting and everything, the movie seems very dark. But that's because they use natural settings and natural lighting instead of CGI backgrounds. And like, they actually shot this movie on locations, and it shows. It's beautiful. The movie looks fantastic. The music in it is great. The composer for Game of Thrones came on board. Like, that's the thing. The movie sounds and looks fantastic, except for the CGI. I will say, the CGI, man, I don't know. I just don't get how you can have the kind of CGI that's in a lot of these Marvel movies like Endgame or Infinity War. and then we get a movie with a bunch of characters like this that are these super immortal beings. I just don't understand how the CGI can be so bad. And maybe it's because the most of the movie was actually shot for real and it wasn't CG. I don't know, but I really noticed it, especially in that third act where you get your big Marvel CGI fight scene, which all comic book movies do. The DC movies do it. It doesn't matter which ones they are. It's a formula that they do. So, but yeah, movie looked fantastic. For the most part, like almost, I would say 95% of it. Just the CGI looked weird at points, like really, really weird. And this movie is loaded with a cast. Star-studded cast. You have Gemma Chan as Cersei, Richard Madden as Icarus, who basically is Superman. I will talk about that. Angelina Jolie as Thena. Fantastic role for her. She was nothing like I thought she was going to be. She's basically like Wonder Woman. Salma Hayek is Ajak. I thought she was okay. Brian Tyree Henry plays Fatos, not Fatos. Jesus Christ, I messed his name up. But he's a cool character for sure. He's basically like the builder of the group. He like builds and designs things. There's actually something they do with him that involves World War II, which is crazy because this movie jumps all over history from like BC to AD to current times to 1,000 years before. Like it is all over the freaking place, like all over the place. So we got Lauren Ridloff. She plays God, she's like the Flash Mockery or something like that. I'm pronouncing these, I'm murdering these freaking names. Barry Cohagen plays Druig. He was an interesting character. He was a character that I felt like did not get enough screen time at all. Like, at all. Ma Dong Seok. I'm telling you, I'm messing up all these guys' names, but he plays Gilgamesh. Leah McHugh plays Sprite. I didn't like that character. I just couldn't get on board that character. Not saying it's the actor's fault or the writers. I just couldn't get on board with it. I don't know why. I just couldn't. And then you got Kit Harrington. That's right. Game of Thrones alum. Love Kit Harrington. He plays Dane. He's freaking Cersei's boyfriend when she's living a human life, a normal life. Because she's been on the planet Earth for like over 5,000 years. And there is a cool post-credit scene with his character. And if you don't want to hear what I'm going to say, freaking skip ahead a little bit or go watch the movie and come back. But and I was mad because he was not in this movie really that much at all. He was in the very beginning and then the very end. Like, he literally was not in this movie. But what they teased with him at the second end credit scene, he is going to become the Black Knight in Marvel. Oh my God. He's going to play a comic book version, in a way, of who he played in freaking Game of Thrones, man. I am stoked for this. Like, super stoked. Especially if you go look at what he looks like in the comic books. Jacked. So yes, the movie, like I said, looked beautiful. It sounded beautiful. Fantastic freaking cast. All the actors did a great job. But like I said, to me, the movie felt, in a way, I guess it kind of felt more like a DC movie. I mean, mainly because a lot of the characters in this movie, they're like knockoff versions of Superman, Flash, Wonder Woman. I mean, you got a little Batman-ish stuff sprinkled in there, just a little bit. And then there's even kind of some stuff that's a little similar to Green Lantern. It's just, and it has a darker tone to it, like this but then it doesn't. It gets really funny, and I thought the humor was good in the movie. I didn't think they went crazy with that, and I actually thought it kind of fit with what they were doing. But like the movie gets really, 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 really serious at times, and then it's just not. It's that funny MCU, and then just the whole concept of the movie itself, with the whole planet Earth literally be going to be destroyed by this celestial that is going to be birthed from the planet, like literally Earth and everything. The concept of this movie is awesome, and this could have been something epic and crazy and beautiful, but the one thing about this movie that really drug it down was the story, the pacing. It was all over the place. It was bouncing just all over the place. They jumped from so many different times, and they were trying to tell this story, and I felt like it affected the way that the audience felt about certain characters, because you see them do something, all the way back in like 500 and something AD or BC or whatever, and then you get back to them at another time and you see them, they actually kind of tell their backstory a little more, and then you understand, oh, okay, I understand why they did that, but it doesn't impact you as a viewer as much because you didn't get that initial understanding of why did they do that. Like, I don't know, I just feel like this movie was just, it honestly should have been longer maybe, which I glad it wasn't, because I honestly thought the first hour of the movie was really kind of dragging and boring. Not gonna lie. That first hour was not very entertaining. I was surprised by that, because I can watch a movie that doesn't have any action in it. I watch a bunch of old movies like James Bond movies. But yeah, I was just shocked at how it drugs so much. But once it got about an hour in, it really kicked in for me, and I was started to kind of be like, okay, this is getting better. And you get your third act, your MCU act. You get your credit teaser things that we get in all the Marvel movies. But yeah, the story, it was just messy. Very, very messy. You got a very beautiful looking, sounding movie. Great actors. They all acted well. Great director. It was shot well. But the story really drags this movie down for me. So I'm going to give Eternals a 6 out of 10. I do think it's an enjoyable watch once you get about halfway into the movie. I'm interested to see what they do with these characters, because some die and some are still around. So I am because they're going to be in future Marvel stuff. They flat out said that. They might not get another movie, which they probably will, because the MCU's got lots of money. So, but yeah, super interested to see where they're going to go with all these characters, though. So, a 6 out of 10 for Marvel's Eternals, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed that review. Thank you for watching, and I'll be catching you on the tube later, because I have spoken.